Welcome back to the ParaNigel podcast. Tonight we're stepping into one of the most chilling true crime legends in American history. A story where brutal murder, unanswered questions, and paranormal claims collide. This is the story of Lizzie Borden and the house many believe is still haunted. On the morning of August 4th, 1892, in the quiet town of Fall River, Massachusetts, something horrific happened inside a modest white house at 92 2nd Street. The Borden home was sealed off from the outside world. Doors locked, windows closed, no signs of forced entry. Inside that house, Andrew Borden, a wealthy but notoriously frugal businessman, and his wife Abby were brutally murdered with a hatchet. Abby was found first. She lay face down in the upstairs guest bedroom. Her skull had been struck 19 times. One blow was so violent it split her head almost in two. Doctors later noted she was likely killed while cleaning the room, facing away from her attacker. Andrew was found later on the living room couch. He had been struck 10 or 11 times, mostly in the face. One eye had been nearly cut in half. Blood spatter covered the walls. His wounds suggested the killer stood very close, calm, deliberate. There was no screams reported. No neighbors heard a struggle. No one saw anyone enter or leave. Inside the home at the time were only 3 people. Andrew's daughter, Lizzie Borden, the family maid, Bridget Sullivan, and Abby Borden, who was already dead. Within days, suspicion fell heavily on the 32-year-old Lizzie. Lizzie Andrew Borden was born in 1860 and lived most of her life in Fall River. She and her older sister Emma were active in church groups and social organizations. Lizzie taught Sunday school, belonged to the Women's Christian Temperance Union, and was deeply involved in her community. On the surface, she was proper, polite, religious, and respectable. But the Borden household was reportedly tense. Andrew Borden was worth the modern equivalent of several $1 million, yet lived like a poor man. He refused indoor plumbing. He distrusted servants, and he controlled every dollar. Lizzie and Emma were embarrassed by their lifestyle and frustrated by their lack of independence. Relations with their stepmother Abby were deeply strained. Abby had married Andrew after the girl's mother died, and his sister believed she married him for his money. Tension worsened after Andrew gave property to Abby's relatives, something the sister saw as betrayal. Friends later described Lizzie as extremely moody, strong-willed, easily offended, and capable of intense resentment and rage. The perfect Victorian image with cracks beneath the surface. The timeline of the murders has troubled investigators for over a century. Abby was likely killed sometime between 9 and 9:30 a.m. Andrew was murdered roughly an hour later. Lizzie claimed she was in the barn looking for fishing sinkers when her father was killed, but no one saw her there. Bridget said she was resting in her attic room, sick from cleaning the windows in the August heat. There were no bloody footprints leaving the house, no clear murder weapon. A hatchet head was later found in the basement, but no blood could be conclusively tied to it. Police also noted something disturbing. The killer would have been soaked in blood. Yet, Lizzie was found clean. Shortly after the murders, Lizzie burned a dress, claiming it had been ruined by paint. Investigators were deeply suspicious, but could not prove it was connected to the crime. To this day, how someone could murder 2 people in such confined space without being seen, without being covered in blood, remains one of the greatest mysteries of the case. Eventually, Lizzie was arrested and charged with the murders in 1893. The trial became a national obsession. Newspapers printed floor plans of the house. Vendors sold souvenirs. Crowds gathered daily outside the courthouse. America was captivated by the idea that a soft-spoken woman could commit such savagery. Key points presented at the trial were: Lizzie attempted to buy prussic acid, poison. Days earlier, a potentially important dress was destroyed and her statements were inconsistent. She had motive, opportunity, and access. But the prosecution could not overcome one powerful reality. There was no direct evidence, no eyewitnesses, no confirmed weapon, no blood-stained clothing. After just 90 minutes of deliberation, Lizzie Borden was found not guilty, legally innocent and publicly condemned. Though she inherited Andrew's estate and moved into a larger home, Lizzie lived the rest of her life under suspicion, whispers, and social isolation. She died in 1927, but many believe something of her and the crime never left that house. Today, the former residence operates as the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast Museum, and it is widely considered one of the most haunted locations in America. Over the decades, guests, staff, and investigators have reported persistent and often aggressive activity. Some of the claims include heavy footsteps on empty staircases, bedroom doors opening and slamming, furniture moving on its own, sudden cold spots, whispering voices, children crying, objects vanishing and reappearing, and the overwhelming feeling of being watched. Some guests report being touched, poked, or pushed while lying in bed. Others wake with unexplained scratches or bruises. One of the most haunted areas is believed to be the guest room where Abby was murdered. Visitors often report intense dizziness, nausea, sudden sadness, and a shortness of breath. Paranormal teams consistently document EMF spikes and EVPs here. Another hotspot is the sitting room, where Andrew died. Shadow figures, strange mists, and camera malfunctions are frequently reported. Investigators using spirit boxes and audio recorders have captured sounds many interpret as voices saying, "Andrew, she did it. Don't, and help me." Several psychics who have never been told the history of the home have independently described a woman struck from behind with no knowledge of the happenings, an angry male presence, and a younger woman hiding something. Some visitors claim to see a woman in a Victorian dress standing silently at the top of the staircase. Others report an oppressive, almost confrontational presence in what was once Lizzie's bedroom. There are repeated claims of a woman's voice responding when Lizzie's name is spoken aloud. Lights flicker, cameras drain. People feel sudden bursts of rage, fear, or grief. Employees have admitted they refuse to work alone in certain rooms. Believers suggest the energy in the house is not residual, but intelligent. Is it Abby, still unaware she is dead? Is it Andrew, reliving the final moments on the couch? Or is it Lizzie herself, forever bound to the place where her life was destroyed, or where she apparently destroyed life? Some paranormal researchers go further, proposing the house doesn't just hold spirits, but trauma, something that feeds on attention, emotion, and memory. Over 130 years later, historians, psychologists, and criminologists still debate Lizzie's guilt. Some modern theories suggest Lizzie acted alone. Others, Lizzie had an unknown accomplice. Bridget, the maid, was involved. A botched robbery or a long-hidden family secret. Yet no new evidence has ever definitively closed the case. The murders remain officially unsolved, and the activity inside that house continues to fuel one of America's darkest legends. So, in closing, was Lizzie Borden a wrongfully accused woman crushed by Victorian suspicion? Or did she commit the perfect crime and take the truth to her grave? And if spirits truly linger where violence occurs, what if anything still walks the halls of 92 2nd Street? If you enjoyed tonight's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. And let me know in the comments, do you think Lizzie was innocent? Or do you believe the house remembers what the courts could not prove? Do you think this is a place I should investigate? Thanks for watching. Love you, spooky mother fluffers, and I'll see you next time. ParaNigel out.